So
I appreciate you sitting down, man. You were very civil, which I very much appreciate because not everyone is. So
I don't want to cause.
Yeah, no, you were perfect. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, of course. Awesome. Hey, have a great day, man, and good luck on exams.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Have a great day.
You too.
Get out of here.
I'm okay. I think I'll stay right here.
Get out of here.
No, I'm good.
Get out of here.
Sir, don't touch me.
Get out of here.
No, I'm good. I think I'll stay. Was what happened on October 7 justified,
Yes.
including the raping of women? So when Hamas says we love death like Israelis love life, what do you think of that?
They see justified to rise up when Israel occupies their land.
By rising up, are you saying kill Jews?
Kill the IDF and occupiers of their land who violently depose them.
So what should Israel do?
Israel should cease to exist.
Why is it wrong to eat a 1-year-old baby, but it's okay
I'm
to
not
plant
engaging
animals?
with a ridiculous question like that because it's stupid and it's
You can say it's stupid, but you still can't answer it. Why is it wrong to eat a 1-year-old baby, but it's okay to eat planted animals? How does atheism provide you with a set of morals?
It doesn't, but it doesn't.
It doesn't.
But I can decide my own morals.
Okay, what about the murderer, the rapist, and the pedophile? They decided their own morals.
Nazi!
I'm not a Nazi. I'm a Christian. Here we have Palestine demonstrators supporting the Houthis, saying turn another ship around. The Houthis literally enslave people. The Houthis slogan is God is great, death to America, death to Israel, a curse on the Jews, victory to Islam. So apparently there's supposed to be some pro-Palestine protest that's going on. Apparently it has something to do with Yemen. If they're talking about the U.S. bombing the Houthis, I think it's a little crazy that they, might be supporting the Houthis, but I think it's time to go ask them some questions, see how much they really know about the Houthis and about Hamas. We'll see if they want to be consistent. We'll see if they have any justification for what they actually believe. So we're just going to keep it rolling. We're going to keep it light. We'll keep it fun. And we'll see what people have to say. I'm just an independent guy. Yeah, just a guy. So do you want to tell me why you're out here today?
Yeah, we're out here. New Students for a Democratic Society, a national organization, called a National Day of Action to stand with Yemen as it stands with Palestine. And so we're out here for that very reason.
Mm-hmm. And so do you support the Houthis then?
We support Ansar Allah's supporting the Palestinian resistance and blockading ships in the Red Sea.
So you support the blockading of ships in the Red Sea?
Yes.
Even though that has cost mass amounts of dollars for the shipping rates. The shipping rates have more than doubled since the attacks on the Red Sea.
Yeah, and tens of thousands in Gaza are dead. I don't see why it matters.
Well, you're saying that people dying is bad, right?
Yep.
Are you pro-choice?
I am pro-choice.
You're pro-choice. Okay, so you say it's bad when people in Gaza die, but you say it's okay when children in the womb die. Why is that?
And I don't see how this is relevant to a rally with Yemen and Palestine. Thank you.
It's relevant because I think you're being inconsistent.
Oh, I thought he dribbled. Huh. Come on, LaMelo. What are you doing? Shoot the ball. They just took away all my take. How you gonna reach with the wrong hand? Well, the good news is it doesn't actually look like you lost many badges. Guard up did go to bronze, and I believe that's it. That's the only thing that fell down. You still have Claymore on silver and Catch and Shoot on silver. Yeah. How you gonna take that shot, Lillard? You're terrible. I forgot. I don't think you can advance the ball at the half. Got him, coach. I don't know about the coach benching me in the first quarter. That was shit. Kind of wish that, well, my green machine would have already, or your green machine would have already been popped to silver if we would have had that on yesterday, but it wasn't popping at all because green machine relies on user timing. So that badge took some hits. And that badge pops on everything you make. Just the two of us, you and I. Oh, fuck you, Claymore. Coffee. Why don't you play some defense there, Ja Rule, or whatever the fuck your name is? Did you hear that? You're unstoppable, Andy. Andy, you're unstoppable, bro. Unstoppable. Right now, we're as good as Kobe, I think. In every game that we play, we're as good as Kobe. Oh, yeah. me fuck you up. No! We're not as good as Kobe. Oh, wait, we're better. We're just... GOAT moment. NBA record, top 10... I don't know. Whatever it is, Andy, it says we're the best. Oh. It's amazing. Oh, that's my steal. I'm tied for the most threes? Well, let's bust another one. Oh my goodness. Alright, we need 6 more threes. That ain't gonna happen. Well, that's more indicative of how I normally shoot in here. I miss 6. Usually it's about that, between 4 and 6, or less. Alright, well, maybe a little longer than I thought, but...
The star backcourt of Doncic and Irving are out there. Daniel Gafford is out there with Derek Jones, and it's Exum in at the small forward. And for Milwaukee, Middleton and Giannis slot in at the small and power forward. Let's go to the sideline for a report on MP's historic night.
The league is still buzzing about that recent game. A new league record for three-pointers in a game, topping the old mark of 14 by Klay Thompson in 2018. The new three-point record holder told me, all of the credit keeps going to my teammates as they kept looking for me and getting me great looks. An unreal game, Kevin.
Fantastic in every sense of the word. Well, guys, MP's got the matchup with one of the best, Luka Doncic, in this one. And both players right there in the discussion in the top echelon of the MVP race.
And maybe the most impressive thing about Doncic is the way he sets the game. There's an angle
offensively and defensively early on. You know, in the early stages of the season, Brett, what's something that the offense is looking for in regards to their team?
Well, I think it's all the strategy and time that went into building this roster. If those things are starting to show themselves, having small flashes of indications that the team is growing together and has the capability of getting where you want them to go.
Launches a three. Rebound, Milwaukee. They defeated Charlotte in their last game. And you gotta love a team that can maintain.
Giannis. I'm going to bench your ass.
Well, awesome to see in that last game how the motion in their offense didn't stop because they were in some hostile territory.
Fuck you, Luka.
Pass to A-Train. Kyrie was the big signing for the Mavs this summer. And, Greg, they altered their roster quite a bit.
Yeah, they needed to mix up their approach, right? That they liked the Luka and Kyrie pairing. Now they're all in and can score for the next few years.
And such a gifted finisher. Once Kyrie gets inside, he knows he's got you where he wants you. Making up a lead can have two ingredients. They've done that tonight. Serve it up.
And here in the first, about 3 minutes in. Gafford sets the pick for Doncic. Takes the 13-footer. Got a piece of it.
And they've done a nice job of controlling the defensive backboard to start this game. Their defense has been so aggressive right out of the gate, wasting no time shutting shooters down here with authority.
I wonder if pace and playing fast is something that they're being encouraged to do, because right now they feel like the faster team.
And so is Milwaukee with it. After the Mavericks make it through, throws it from outside.
That's a dozen straight points coming from.
It's relevant because I think you're being inconsistent. You say that lives matter, but then you're okay with killing children in the womb. Do you see the problem?
You're not a journalist, you're a right-wing reporter.
No. I'm just a guy. Sir.
I don't care.
Okay, so you don't care about the children in the womb, or you don't care about me, or both?
I'm pro-choice.
Okay, so you think it's okay to murder children in the
I'm
room?
not here to debate that because I don't think that it's murder. A woman has a right to choose.
Choose to do what?
To choose to have autonomy over her own body.
So choose to kill the child in their womb.
Dude, fuck off, okay? Get out of here.
I'm okay. I think I'll stay right here.
Get out of here.
No, I'm good.
Get out of here.
Sir, don't touch me.
Get out of here.
No, I'm good. I think I'll stay.
Gate trying to set the tone defensively. You gotta love that energy.
From where? Where is that? Are you saying from the river to the sea? And what about the Jews who are currently living in Israel?
Prior to 1948, Jewish people lived in peace.
So you're saying from the river to the sea, but what about the children? What about the Jews who are living in Israel? What about that?
We believe in a secular state of Palestine where the Jewish people and the Christians and the Palestinians can live in peace, because Semitism and the Jewish belief is not equal to Zionism. They are different things.
So you think that the Jews can live in peace with the same people who have the Palestinian Authority? They pay people to kill Jews in Israel, and you think they can live in peace together?
They are rising up and resisting against 75 years of occupation and genocide, and their lives are controlled a state in which they have no representation in. Their movements are limited. They are rising up against it, and you cannot equate the violence of resistors with the violence of oppressors. It is different.
So was what happened on October 7 justified?
Yes.
Including the raping of women?
That was not proven. And in fact,
Are you kidding?
And that was not proven. And in fact, many of the claims, including the claim, that Israel was justified in bombing the hospital in Palestine, Palestine?
Well, that was the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. That was not Israel.
No, it was Israel. And these things were debunked later. You right-wing freaks just take these claims, and then when they get debunked, you don't care because it doesn't matter to you.
Sir, I'm not right-wing. I'm just a Christian.
You seem right-wing to me. You're on the side of the oppressors.
I'm on the side of Israel defending its nation from terrorist attacks. For example,
You're on the side of Israel occupying and genociding a population for 75 years.
see, you say that Israel's doing genocide, but Hamas's 2017 charter stated that they want the full liberation of Palestine to the sea. That would mean killing a lot of Jews.
No, it would mean a free Palestine to the sea, except in Palestine, which Jewish people and Christians and Palestinians all live in equality, legal equality, which is denied to the Palestinians currently under the state of Israel.
This idea that Israel can live in equality with the Palestinians, with Hamas, is pretty insane. I mean, Hamas, the Palestinian Authority pays Hamas to kill Jews in Israel. And yet you're saying that you live peacefully together. Isn't that a little bit insane? Especially when 75% of Gazans and Palestinians support it. Not terrorist attacks. 75% of them say it was okay to rape women, to kill children, they pretty much only attack civilians for the most part. And you're saying that you live peacefully together. How so?
They came to fight the idea that, the IOF, occupation kibbutz, and kibbutz. It actually came out later that at that festival, when there were Israeli citizens who died, and there were instances of when the police of the IOF shot the IOF, when they shot through crowds, they killed their own citizens because they didn't care for their lives. They don't care for the lives of those own citizens either. They're not lying. That's it.
So I was out here a few weeks ago and someone said that they think Israel is the one who committed the October 7th terrorist attack. Do you believe that Hamas committed the October 7th terrorist attack? Or Israel did?
I reject the notion that it's a terrorist attack, so I reject your question.
So you think that it's not a terrorist attack when someone goes in, rapes women, kills children, attacks the kibbutz, attacks a festival? You say that's not terrorism?
I think it's resistance against 75 years of occupation.
So you're saying it's not terrorism when children are raped, when children are killed from their parents, and parents are killed from their children? It's not terrorism?
Many of that was debunked, and you don't simply care when the children, the majority of those killed in Gaza were women and children.
So you say that no one will rape, correct? Is that your statement?
I can't say that for every person, but I don't think that was the plan of them going in there. They're rising up against resistance.
What about when those terrorists who were taken because they committed terrorist activities say that they went in there to rape women? They say that we went in there, we wanted to dirty them to rape them.
Why was this so? I don't see the source of this anyway.
That's going to be one of Hamas terrorists who said we went there to rape women, to dirty them.
So after these 75 years, I can't believe nothing that comes out of the script. And if that is
Hamas terrorists.
yeah, and words can be words, and they can be coerced through, torture, which is very common in Israeli prisons. Torture is common.
So when Hamas says we love death like Israelis love life, what do you think of that?
They see justified to rise up when Israel occupies their land.
By rising up, are you saying kill Jews?
Kill the IDF and occupiers of their land who violently depose them.
So you're saying it's okay for Hamas to go kill the IDF. In the process of that, you're saying it's okay for them to kill civilians.
Hey, Julia. Just getting harassed by a right-wing interviewer here.
No, there's no harassment going on.
Oh yeah, it is. You're saying this. You're saying that. These claims that I'm not making.
Money for schools, not for war.
And there they go.
Yemen shores.
They never want to talk.
Not for war. Money for school, not for war.
So,
U.S. out of Yemen shores.
Money for schools. Money
do you support the Houthis?
Money for war.
The Houthis enslave people.
U.S. out of Yemen shores.
The Houthis are actively enslaving 1,800 people, and none of you guys care.
U.S. out of Yemen shores. To Gaza you will rise.
You are supporting the Houthis and Hamas, both of whom are terror organizations.
You will rise.
Gaza, you will rise.
You will
By the way, look at who all they're chanting to. It's just me. They're yelling just for me.
Gaza, you will rise.
They love me so much that they want to yell just for me.
By your side.
There's no one else here.
You will rise.
It's just me. It's just me.
You have Yemen by your side.
Stop supporting terrorism. What do you think about this, sir? They're supporting the Houthis and Hamas.
Really?
Yeah, they're pro-Palestine. So they're saying that what Israel did, or what Israel's doing is wrong, even though...
And who are you?
Me? I'm just a guy, just a Christian. I support Israel.
So you support the Palestinian Christians?
I support Israel wiping out Hamas. Palestinian Christians aren't members of Hamas because they're Christians, you know.
But it's a war against Palestine, right?
Oh, it's a war against Hamas, not Palestine.
Well, they've killed 30,000 Palestinians,
Well, they're not,
including 10,000 children, right?
So they're not intentionally targeting civilians, which is different from Hamas. Hamas intentionally targets civilians. Israel's targeting terrorists. In the process of that, because Hamas hides under hospitals, houses, and mosques, some civilians may die, but that's not on Israel, that's on Hamas, because they're going into these civilian areas and they're using them for terrorism.
So they're saying in the news 23,000 Palestinians are dead and 7,000 are probably buried under the road. And the vast majority of those are civilian people who are not.
I like the way he shoots, man. It's much better today. He's a shooter.
Says we offer peace and unity to all neighborhoods and their peoples and invite them to cooperate with the independent Jewish nation for the common good of all.
I'd have you, all the nations of the world that were colonized, none of them would be nations by your.
So that's the difference between actually counting shot timing and not. And my guess is that doing the layup timing is just as good.
No, when you said, I just want to point this out because you're distorting your own thinking. When they're being killed, they're Jews, right? But when they're occupying, they're Zionists, right?
No, I mean, there's Jews.
Like
You can be a Jew and a Zionist. And you can be a Jew and an
You can be a
anti-Zionist.
Christian and a Zionist too. But you just switched up your whole rhetoric because you're trying to make like powerful.
So what should Israel do?
Israel should cease to exist.
Israel should cease to exist. So you're okay with like the full genocide of the Jews living in Israel?
I'm not calling for genocide.
You're saying Israel should cease to exist. What would that look like?
I'm saying that Jewish people can live in Palestine. Hamas does not call to kill or remove Jews. They call for them to join them in a new Palestine that's democratic.
So there you hear him say Hamas does not call to kill or remove Jews. They call for them to join them in a Palestine that is democratic. This is laughably absurd. Shows you how little he actually knows about what Hamas wants. Let's go to Hamas's 1988 covenant, see what Hamas has to say about what they really want. Let's start by seeing if they want democracy. Let's go to Article 11. Article 11 states, this is a law governing the land of Palestine, the Islamic Sharia law. And the same goes for any land the Muslims have conquered by force, because during times of Islamic conquest, the Muslims consecrate these lands to Muslim generations until the Day of Judgment. They also say in Article 11, any procedure in contradiction to Islamic Sharia where Palestine is concerned is null and void. So they don't want democracy, they want theocracy with Sharia law. Let's go to the first part of his statement where he says Hamas does not call, kill, or remove Jews. That's also laughably absurd. Let's go to Article 7 of the Hamas 1988 covenant. It says, moreover, if the links have been distant from each other and if obstacles placed by those who are the lackeys of Zionism in the way of the fighters obstructed the continuation of the struggle, the Islamic resistance movement aspires to the realization of Allah's promise, no matter how long that should take. The Prophet Allah, bless him and grant him salvation, has said, the Day of Judgment will not come about until Muslims fight the Jews, killing the Jews, when the Jew will hide behind stones and trees. The stones and trees will say, oh Muslims, oh Abdullah, there's a Jew behind me, come and kill him. Only the Garkad tree, evidently a certain kind of tree, would not do that, because it is one of the trees of the Jews. Let's go to Article 13, where it says there is no solution for the Palestinian question except through jihad. So when he says Hamas does not call to kill or remove Jews, it's obviously laughably absurd because Hamas calls for the exact opposite. Hamas calls to kill Jews. Hamas wants all the Jews in Israel dead. Want some more recent evidence? Let's go through a montage of Hamas leaders calling for the death of all the Jews living in Israel and also calling for the death at certain points of all the Jews who are living on the face of the earth. Here's a Hamas official saying, oh Allah, bring annihilation upon the Jews, paralyze them, destroy their entity. Oh Allah, enable us to get to the next of the Jews. Oh Allah, enable us to get to the next of the Jews. Here's Fathi Hamad, former Interior Minister of Gaza. The day of your slaughter, extermination, and annihilation is near, he says. Here's a Hamas Imam speaking at Hamas Friday sermon. Until not a single Jew or Zionist is left on the face of the earth, he says. Here's another Hamas Friday sermon. Their doctrine in fighting you, the Jews, the Muslims will exterminate you. We will not leave a single one of you alive. Here's Hamas co-founder saying the Quran says kill them wherever you can find them. We will fight them wherever we can. Here's another Hamas Friday sermon. The moment will come when their property will be destroyed and their sons annihilated, he says. Here's a deputy speaker of Hamas parliament. Oh Allah, destroy the Jews and their supporters. Oh Allah, destroy the Americans and their supporters. Oh Allah, count them one by one. Kill them all. without leaving a single one. As you can see, Hamas is extremely clear that they want all the Jews who are living in Israel to be dead, not a single one left. The Palestinian Authority pays Hamas to kill Jews. They pay Hamas to kill Jews. How are they going to live together?
The Palestinian Authority is funded by the United States government.
Yes, and the Palestinian Authority also pays Hamas to kill Jews.
You're just coming up with wacky
Sir, you can
stuff.
Google it right now. The Palestinian Authority pays Hamas to kill Jews.
So the United
And you
States
think they can live together?
government, you're saying the United States government, right?
Well, I don't know if the United States government is funding the Palestinian Authority, but let's quickly address what the Palestinian Authority Martyrs Fund is and why it's problematic that the United States sends foreign aid into Palestine. So first of all, the Palestinian Authority Martyrs Fund can also be called Pay for Slay. That's kind of what it's commonly referred to here in the United States. The reason it's called that is because ultimately it's a fund that gives out more than $300 million annually to the families of dead terrorists, or in other words, martyrs, or terrorists who are now being imprisoned in Israel as a result of their terrorism. They'll give that money to the terrorists' families while they're in prison. So obviously this is extremely problematic. President Trump put the Taylor Force bill into law in 2018. It was named after Taylor Force, who was an American citizen who was killed in a terror attack in Israel by a Palestinian. What the bill does is it prohibits the United States from sending any foreign aid to the Palestinian authorities since they do have this policy of pay for slay. In 2019, President Trump cut all aid that was going into the Gaza Strip and into the West Bank, a policy that I very, very much agree with. In contrast, Joe Biden has resumed providing aid to the Palestinians in Gaza and West Bank, a policy I very much disagree with, since the Palestinian Authority Martyrs Fund still exists. In addition to that, there's reports from people in Gaza that Hamas is taking a lot of the aid that is going through the UNRWA. So I'm absolutely against the United States providing any sort of foreign aid to Gaza or the West Bank, since that money is likely to end up in the hands of terrorists. The point I was trying to make in my conversation with this man about the Palestinian Authority Martyrs Fund is that it's irrational to believe that a group of people who are literally paying terrorists to kill Israelis can then live in harmony with those same Israelis.
Well, no, even they are. You need to go to school at a good university to learn about it.
Let's say that they are. The
United States government is the main place that the Palestine Authority gets its funding.
Okay, see, just real quick, you're claiming that
Palestine, Jewish people can continue to live with Palestinian people, and they've done it before. They did it before the state of Israel existed.
The idea that there was peace between the Jews and the Arabs who were living in Palestine prior to Israel declaring independence is simply untrue. For example, in 1920, there were Jerusalem riots. In 1929, there was the Hebron massacre, where 67 Jews were killed by Arabs. Many more Jews left seriously or maimed, Jewish homes pillaged, synagogues ransacked. It was so bad, in fact, the British authorities had to literally evacuate the Jews who were living in Hebron. And then when those Jews who were expelled from Hebron tried to return in 1931, they were once again evacuated at the start of the Arab revolt in Palestine. Keep in mind, during the Arab revolt from 1936 to 1939, swastikas were used as the markers of identities for Arabs. If you're not sure what a swastika is, it's the same marker and the same image that was used in Hitler's Nazi Germany. It was put on Arabic leaflets. It was also used to put on someone's car if they wanted to travel through an area that was impacted by the Arab revolt and not get sniped by an Arab sniper. In addition to that, I'll point out hundreds of Jews died during the Arab revolt from 1936 to 1939. In 1937, the Peel Commission put forward a partition plan for the land of Palestine, precisely because they understood how much conflict there was between the Jews and the Arabs in the region. Keep in mind, this was 11 years before Israel even declared independence. In addition to that, I'll point out Muhammad Amin al-Husseini, who was the Mufti of Jerusalem, literally sided with Hitler during World War II, and when he knew of the final solution in November 1943, he said it is the duty of Mohammedans, Muslims in general, and Arabs in particular, to drive all the Jews from Arab and Mohammedan countries. Germany is also struggling against the common foe who oppress Arabs and Mohammedans in their different countries. It has very clearly recognized the Jews for what they are and resolved to find a definitive solution to the Jewish danger that will eliminate the scourge that Jews represent in the world. So here you can clearly see the Mufti of Jerusalem, who was an Arab in Palestine, advocating for the final solution. I'll also point out, in 1947, the UN put forward a partition plan precisely because they understood it would be very difficult for the Jews to survive if they did not have their own state. For example, Faris al-Khoury, who was a Syrian delegate to the UN in 1947, stated, unless the Palestine problem is settled, we shall have difficulty in protecting and safeguarding the Jews in the Arab world. As you can see, it's extremely clear that there was, in fact, not peace between the Jews and the Arabs prior to Israel declaring its independence. It's also quite clear, I believe, that Israel, in fact, needed its own independent state based on the behavior of the Arabs inside of Palestine and what they were saying they would do to the Jews. Nevertheless, in 1948, when the British mandate over Palestine ended and Israel declared independence, Israel still invited the Arabs to stay as full citizens. For example, in the Declaration of Independence of Israel, it states, we appeal in the very midst of the onslaught launched against us now for months to the Arab inhabitants of the state of Israel to preserve peace and participate in the upbuilding of the state on the basis of full and equal citizenship and due representation in all its provisional and permanent institutions. I'll also point out over 20% of the population of Israel right now is in fact Arab, and they are full citizens and enjoy all the same rights and protections that the Jews who live in Israel enjoy.
There were Jews all over the Middle East.
There were pogroms still.
There were pogroms in Europe,
There were
especially
pogroms in Israel
Russia and
too.
Eastern Europe.
In modern day Israel, there were pogroms.
But that
Prior to Israel's statehood.
definition of pogrom does not apply to what's happened in Palestine, unless you're talking about the pogrom against the Palestinians.
Well, the Arabs committed pogroms against Israelis before Israel's statehood as well. I just want to real quick go back to this. You said that Israelis can live in harmony with the Palestinians. How is that possible when Hamas is killing Israelis and the Palestinian Authority is paying Hamas to kill Jews?
The Arab Jews lived side by side with Muslims and Christians before the British and French came in and started interfering.
The notion that the Jews and Arabs living in Palestine lived side by side with full equality prior to the British Mandate is simply untrue. Prior to the British Mandate, the Ottoman Empire controlled Palestine. Under the Ottoman Empire, there were the dhimmi laws. People who were dhimmis were considered the Jews and the Christians who are people of the book, but who are still non-Muslims. The dhimmi laws essentially subordinated the Jews to the Muslims. Dhimmi laws prevented the Jews from bearing arms, serving in public office, or serving in the armed services. In addition to that, Jews were not allowed to ride on horses or camels or to build synagogues that were taller than mosques. In addition to that, if the Jews wanted to repair their synagogues, they'd have to get permission from the Muslim. In addition to that, dhimmis were not allowed to pray too loudly or to ring church bells. Dhimmis had to always yield the center of the road to Muslims. In addition to that, dhimmis weren't allowed to give evidence in court against the Muslims. Dhimmi's oath was unacceptable in Islamic court, and dhimmis would have to literally purchase Muslim witnesses at great expense to themselves in order to defend themselves. In the 1800s, while the British Mandate over Palestine, there was a massacre of Jews in Baghdad in 1828, and in 1867 there was another massacre of Jews in Barbarich. In addition to that, in 1891, Muslims who were living in Jerusalem that they asked the Ottomans to prohibit the entry of Jews coming from Russia. Moreover, in the 1800s, it was noted that Muslim children would throw rocks at Jews. For example, a traveler in the 1800s wrote, "I have seen a little fellow of 6 years old with a troop of fat toddlers of only 3 or even 4, teaching them to throw stones at a Jew. And one little Urchin who lived with the greatest coolness modeled to the man who would spit upon his Jewish gabardine. To all this, the Jew was obliged to submit. It would be more than his life was worth to offer to strike a Mohammedan." So as you can see, the idea that Muslims, Jews, and Christians were living side by side with full equality prior to the British Mandate over Palestine is simply untrue. Well, the Arabs in Israel live in harmony with the Jews, but when Jews go into Gaza, Jews die.
You know that it's the colonization that messed all of this up. You know that because you're an American and you know that we had a revolution against colonization by the British.
So again, you say that Israel should cease to exist, and you think people can live in harmony. How can they live in harmony when Palestinian authorities pay Hamas to kill Jews? How can they live in harmony with that? Also,
the wackiest thing, the U.S. government funds the Palestinian Authority, and they are the most unpopular institution amongst Palestinians. 2 days ago, there was a mass protest of youth in the West Bank against the Palestinian Authority.
You're still not answering the question. So I'm saying, how can they live in harmony?
You can answer a question that doesn't make any sense, and then you cut me off. I am saying that the new Palestine will have Jewish people living side by side, even the ones that came from Europe or from New York. The Hamas and all the factions in the Palestinian movement say, we want you to continue to live here. And it'll be a toast. They invite them. If you look at the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, the DFLP, Hamas, all the groups, Fatah, all the different factions say, we're not telling Jewish people to leave this country. We're telling Jewish people to stay here and live side by side with us, with minority rights, with full equality rights, with full equality. But when you have a colonized situation, whether it's Ireland or Algeria, when the dominant power loses, people tend to go back to their home countries. And Israel has the highest rate of dual passport people in the world, and there's a reason for that, because it's a colonized society, and it's a colonized land. And until they're liberated, there will not be peace there.
Have a great day, man.
About that.
When Hamas says we love death like Israelis love life, and they say we compete for martyrdom, we love martyrdom, the way in which Hamas leaders die, and they pay people to kill Jews, how do you think they can live in harmony? I don't understand that.
Because they will put an end to the colonization process.
Will they put an end to their terrorism against Israel, against Jews? Really?
You'll have a new society, really. You'll have a new society where people can live side by side. But when one group of people is oppressing another people in their own land, they have every right under international law to take up arms and go across, whether it's Ireland, South Africa. These arguments used to all be the same in the 70s and 80s around South Africa. How how do South Africans live side by side?
Okay, you keep saying it's their land.
African people live side by side with the Dutch settlers that came and the British settlers that came. There's no more war in South Africa.
There's definitely some wars going on in South Africa, but I want to get back to this. You said that it's the Palestinians' land. Okay.
Those
at what point?
Thousands of years
Okay.
and farmed.
Are you familiar with Judea and Samaria? Because that's 3,000 years before the Palestinians claimed any sort of nation. There's Judea and Samaria, and the Jews got exiled.
So you're that desperate?
No.
European Jews.
No.
European Jews own land. I mean,
the point I'm trying to make.
Going back to Europe to claim a potato farm in Ireland?
The point that I'm trying to make here is you're saying the Palestinians have a right to the land because they were there before, but I'm saying the Jews were there before that. Now, I'm not saying either one has a right to land just because they were there before.
Not just before, within my lifetime. Within people who are alive's lifetime. They own that land. They lived on that land. And collectively, it belongs to the people of Palestine.
The reason some Arabs in Palestine don't have the same land as they did before 1948 is not because Israel expelled anyone or stole any land. It's because some Arabs in Palestine would rather live in poverty than ruled by terrorists and simply allow Israel to exist. When Israel declared its independence in 1948, it called on the Arabs to cease the violence they had been waging against the Jews and become full citizens with equal rights to the Jews who would be living in Israel. Instead, what the Arabs decided to do is flee into surrounding Arab nations so that those Arab nations could then go in and wipe out the Jews and push them into the sea, thus killing the Jews. For example, on October 2, 1948, The Economist reported that of the 62,000 Arabs who formerly lived in Haifa, not more than 5,000 or 6,000 remained. Various factors influenced their decision to seek safety in flight. There is but little doubt that the most potent of the factors were the announcements made over the air by the higher Arab executives, urging the Arabs to quit. It was clearly intimated that those Arabs who remained in Haifa and accepted Jewish protection would be regarded as renegades. Another example comes from March 8, 1948, when the Arab National Committee in Jerusalem stated any opposition to this order was referring to the order made by the Arab Higher Committee in which they ordered women, children, and the elderly in parts of Jerusalem to leave their homes, is an obstacle to the Holy War and will hamper the operations of the fighters in the Eastern District. So as you can see, the Arabs who were living in Israel were clearly ordered by the surrounding Arab nations and also their Arab leaders within Israel that they should leave so that the Arab nations can then go wipe out Israel and push the Jews into the sea. Keep in mind, this Arab Higher Committee is the same Arab Higher Committee that was established by the Mufti of Jerusalem, al-Husseini, who literally sided with Hitler in World War II and advocated for the final solution, which in other words is the extermination of the Jews from the face of the earth. In addition to that, Halad al-Alzam, the Syrian Prime Minister in 1948 to 1949, wrote in his memoir that since 1948 we have been demanding the return of the refugees to their homes, but we ourselves are the ones who encouraged them to leave. Only a few months separated our call to them to leave and our appeal to the United Nations to resolve on their return. So as you can see, the reason that some Arabs left in 1948 was not because Israel wanted to expel them or because Israel didn't want them or because Israel was going to oppress them. It was rather because they wanted the surrounding Arab nations to go in and push the Jews into the sea. And this all gets back to the myth that Jews were living in peace with the Arabs prior to Israel declaring its independence, which is simply not true. The truth is that long before Israel declared its independence, the Arabs had severe anti-Semitism, and there was also widespread Jew hatred amongst the Arab population in Palestine. In addition to that, I'll point out the Arabs in Palestine could have had their own state in 1947 if they had simply been willing to negotiate with the 1947 UN partition plan. But they've always refused to accept any deal that involves the existence of Israel as a state. In the year 2000 at the Camp David summit, Bill Clinton told Yasser Arafat to accept the Israeli offer, and Arafat responded saying, "You are asking me to sign my death warrant." The Palestinians are abundantly clear that they don't want peace, and they won't accept anything that doesn't result in the annihilation of Israel.
And they're so generous that they say, we want Jewish people to continue to live here once we've liberated the country. You need to study this. They all say, every political leader, every faction, from the Palestine Authority, who is not really legitimate in the eyes of to Hamas, they all say that they will live together with Jewish